All right, Nuggets fans, welcome to Pickaxe and Roll. Was able to speak to Christian Braun on a very special episode for this podcast, a video episode, a sit-down interview. We went for about 30 minutes, had a lot of great conversations, a lot of great question and answer time. He was fantastic in it, so make sure to go check this out and subscribe to the channel and follow along on Pickaxe and Roll on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy.
Christian, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate you taking the time, man. Wanted to ask you a couple of non-basketball questions first before we get into some of the juicy stuff. But you've been given the rookie duty of carrying around that frozen backpack for the entire season. Whose idea was that, and who do you have to thank for that particular?
Yeah, I think it's like a pretty common thing in the NBA. I just got to the plane one day, and KCP, had it with him, and then he handed it to me, and he was like, bring this on every road trip. So ever since that day, I've just carried it with me, and honestly, they don't even say anything about it anymore. I keep my stuff in it, and it's kind of like a travel bag. Pick it up, take it everywhere. So it was KCP's idea. It's just something I carry around.
That's turned into a cool thing. It's turned into something that Nuggets fans can identify with a little bit. But you said you didn't ever watch Frozen before.
No, I've never seen it.
If you ever, do you have a favorite Disney movie that you would have preferred that they give you a backpack of?
No, I don't really watch Disney movies. But no, I've never seen Frozen. And that's just what he chose, and that's the one he liked. So, like you said, I get a lot of comments. Like a lot of the Denver fans really like it. My family thinks it's hilarious. So it's just kind of my thing now, and it's the bag I'll carry until we're done.
What is your favorite movie then?
Favorite movie? Oh man, I don't watch many movies, but I like Southpaw. That's a good movie.
Good movie. I love it. What's your go-to right now when you have to recover? Because the season is so long. You've got so many ups and downs emotionally, physically, mentally. What's your go-to? Is it music? Is it video games? Hang out with family? What do you go to?
I sleep a lot.
Yeah.
I basically come here, do my routine in the morning, go home, fall asleep for hours. Whether it's a game day, whatever it is, I got to take a nap game day. So sleep is pretty much the biggest thing for me. If I don't have my nap, my day's not normal. So I try to sleep as much as I can. I listen to a lot of music. But right now, like you said, it's late in the season and everybody's a little tired. There's ups and downs, but try to stay with my routine. Try to get ice baths when I can, and just come in and do my routine every day.
Your family has been tied to Kansas, Missouri. Your brother was at Santa Clara. What is it like to have a full-on basketball family? Have they helped you through this process, just understanding it all?
Yeah, I think that they really, my mom and dad, were really pretty tough on me growing up with that stuff. My mom was my coach. She was a pretty tough coach. But just having brothers in it was really exciting because this was a year where I got to watch my older brother play in college, had a really good year. They ended up losing the NIT, and then my younger brother, just won a state championship. So getting to watch all of that, while I'm on the road was a lot. And I actually ended up going to one of my older brother's games, and I ended up going to my younger brother's game during All-Star break. So it's great to do, thing to do, when I was traveling so I tried to catch all their games when I could, and that's just honestly my favorite thing to do is to watch them play, and I'd rather watch my brothers play than watch any game that I've ever played in. So I get more nervous watching them than I do for me because I can't control it. But watching them is one of my favorite things to do. So I try to do that every road trip or every game that they had. I tuned into, and then I actually had an off day when my little brother had the state championship, so I got to watch that too.
That's dope.
Yeah,
it's great. Having a family that's tied into basketball as much as yours is, I'm sure it's got to be a rivalry there. I'm sure it's got to be a lot of trash talk. Have you ever had moments with your family that you're just oh man, you guys get off my back on this?
Yeah, I mean, my mom, my uncles, my aunts, all on my mom's side, all went to Missouri, so that was a big rivalry at first. My dad was a big Kansas fan, so growing up, I was always the kid that really liked Kansas, and I grew up 45 minutes from Lawrence, and then my mom's family was all Missouri. So when they were both in the Big 12, that was obviously something that we, were really into. And my Uncle Mike was really good at Missouri. So that was always a rivalry in itself. And then just, like I said, my mom was my coach, and she might have been one of the toughest coaches, I had. She was the only coach that ever kicked me out of anything. She kicked me out of a game when I was young. So just the rivalry and just having them on your side, they're very competitive. And my mom would be the first to tell me, my dad would be the first to tell me if I played bad. So, I'm pretty hard on myself, but if I play bad or, come in, so I check my phone, first thing is like mom texting you like, shoot the ball better or, do this better. Or if I'm missing shots, get in the gym. So, having them on your side is great. And just having a competitive family is obviously really fun.
NBA season, obviously crazy. I know you've had a lot of road trips where you don't get a lot of time to just hang out and go see places. But Colorado, you've been here for a little bit now. And have you checked out any spots in Colorado at all?
That's crazy you ask. So I don't really know many people out here, and then my family was obviously really busy with my brother's games, and I told them to make sure they go out to their games, and because they had a really important season. So I don't have many people out here. So to be honest with you, I haven't visited hardly anything. Like been to the casino a couple times.
Nice. I was just there.
Yeah, I've been to the casino a couple times, and then other than that, like I eat, DoorDash my food in my house.
Love it.
Where I stay at, and I don't get out too much at all. So I had a friend that actually just moved here, and we're gonna try to get out and see some places. So actually, if people could recommend stuff, that'd be great.
Red Rocks is obviously the one that you got to go see.
I went to Red Rocks and we ran, so I don't think I ever want to go back. Remember, we went on the stairs.
Probably burned for you for the entire life. I know those workouts are famous. Those workouts
it was horrible.
Ain't no way, but that's hilarious, man. If you could travel anywhere this offseason, like just getting away from basketball, where would you go?
That's another thing. I didn't travel a lot, but to be honest with you, I want to spend most of my time in Kansas.
Okay.
Like, preferably, I want to be in Kansas as much as possible, just because that's what I know. That's where I'm comfortable. My family's there, basketball's there, so that's where I'm comfortable at. So I do want to spend a lot of time in Kansas. But if I could go anywhere, I've heard great things about going to Cabo, places like that. So those are things I've never done. So I do want to get to do that. But like I said, I spend most of my time in Kansas, and that's just what I love. So
eat, sleep, and breathe basketball. I understand. I understand. All right, well, let's talk about some basketball now. Let's talk about this season, but we'll start at draft night. I don't know if you knew whether the Nuggets were going to pick you. I don't know what that story was actually like. Do you remember draft night at all and kind of the experience there?
Yeah, I do. So going into it, obviously, you have your pre-draft process and you do all your workouts and all those things. And going into it, like I hadn't had much like contact with the Nuggets, and that wasn't one of my workouts that we had planned. But I knew I was on their radar. Yeah. And I knew that their pick was in a similar range to where I was going to go. So I knew I'd probably go from 20 to 30, 20 to 35, somewhere in there, or maybe a little above that. Well, draft night came, and I had an idea that I might, get picked by them going into it. I knew that I was on their radar. And then once draft night came, like there was some, some talks like, people trying to trade and stuff like that. But like going into it, where we thought was best fit was Denver. Like my agent, my family, what we've talked through is like playing alongside Nikola, playing in a winning organization. All those things are stuff that like I value, and I think that I bring stuff to the table that they really value. So going into it, I thought that this would be the best fit for me, and this is where I wanted to go. Didn't know much about Denver as a city, but like really enjoyed like their brand of basketball and the way they pass the ball and things like that. And knew they needed like a 3-and-D wing. Somebody that plays defense, somebody that can shoot. So I was really excited for the fit. And then kind of as draft went along, it got closer and closer. Obviously, you get the calls and those things, and I think we all did a really good job of executing the plan. And obviously, they picked me, so I was really fortunate that they did that. And I was just really excited, to get here because I thought it was the best fit. And I know that's a really important thing in the NBA is fit. So getting picked by them, I was super excited.
Well, it's great. And I think the season has gone really well for you so far. But in Summer League, if you go back to it, one of the things that Nuggets fans were concerned about was that you didn't make a lot of threes back in Summer League. You did everything else. You had all the defense, you had all the passing, you did all the dunks, but you didn't make a lot of threes. Now you're shooting 39% this year. What went into just kind of the transition from there, or did it matter at all in that environment?
To be honest with you, I was really bad in Summer League. Like I didn't shoot the ball well at all. Like worst I've ever shot in my life. And I was like at the time I was like, man, I need to get in the gym. So coming out of college, I had so much success driving the basketball, and I was driving. I was not thinking shoot at all. So, the transition was really just a mindset thing. Like I could always shoot the ball. Like I shot the ball really well my freshman year, dipped a little bit my sophomore year, and then my junior year shot at like 39 again. So I could always shoot. Like I was a good catch and shoot shooter. But that was something I wanted to improve on, obviously. And there's changes with the line and the ball and, just adjustments. But I think it was just a mindset thing. Like, college was so easy to get downhill and score and score at the rim, playing transition, that the transition was really just like, all right, in this league, where I'm going to find success is catching and shooting, and where I'm going to find success with Nikola and Jamal and all these guys that give me wide open shots. That's going to be where, I make my money at the end of the day. So knowing that and then coming in, I think that the biggest stride I've made is just like mindset-wise and confidence-wise, like catch and let it go. And I knew I've always been able to shoot the ball well. And then obviously, like you said, recently I've had a lot more, opportunities to do that. But it was just a mindset thing, and I knew I could shoot. So I mean, obviously I saw that people didn't think I could, but that's everybody has an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion. But the good news is that you seem pretty well above that. You seem like you're very focused in on just getting better every single day. And the aspect of that, I think, kind of goes back to Nuggets training camp, like back in San Diego, where the general sense that I got when I was down there was that the goals were pretty clear. Everybody knew exactly what was at stake, and the vibes in that gym were great. What were your memories back in training camp, kind of meeting the guys for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time we were all together, and really, I think it might have been the first time I met Nikola, first time I met all these guys, and really spent, time with them in the gym and as a team. And that's really the only time you really practice like actual, get up and down, play hard, and do those things. So we're trying to learn all the defensive things and offensive, sets and all these different things. But really the main point was getting together, getting to know the guys. And like you said, we set specific goals. Like we sat down together, set really specific goals of number of wins, winning your division, winning, all these things, number 1 seed, winning NBA title. You sit down and you talk about all these things, but the biggest thing was stop talking about it. Like, go win, go do it, go, everybody, participate, everybody play when you're available, do all those things. So a big thing was you have to set those goals, but the biggest thing was to stop talking about it and really just do it. I think that we have done a great job of guys, playing through injuries, playing through when you're hurt, doing what we're supposed to do to secure the 1 seed and doing what we're supposed to do, to hopefully win an NBA championship. And that was the goal, and I think everybody's pretty much on the same page. And that's why you see, the winning streaks we've went on, but we haven't had many times where we just lost a lot of games. That's because guys are really holding each other accountable.
Conversely, like on the other side of the coin, like, is there been a moment where you're like, yeah, I can definitely do this. I'm definitely good enough for this league? Or was there an initial point, a dunk, a three, a steal? What was it like at that point?
I think that there's also been like a lot of those. Like there's a few games where I'm like, oh yeah, like this is what I do, or this is like with this team I can find like certain things that I really think I'm good at or where I fit. But there wasn't, like I said, one moment, but there's been ups and downs for sure too. Like, there's times where you hit a lot of threes, there's times where you go 0 for 3. Like, that's what the league is, and there's ups and downs, 82 games. But I think especially right now, it's like, I had a game I literally scored 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, and I'm like, man, I didn't do anything out there. But like, we won, we beat the number 1 team in the NBA right now. We beat the Bucks by like 20, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I feel I affected the game without doing those things. Obviously, I need to go grab a rebound, but I think I affected the game. It's like, man, that like people really get paid to do that, and I think that I'm better than that. And then the next game, I hit a couple shots, get a dunk. Like I think that that's part of your growth, and I think that there's a lot of those times where there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be certain things. But as long as I affect the game and we're winning, I'm happy.
You've been in the rotation for a little bit now. What's the coaching staff on you most about to make sure you're keeping your spot, make sure you're up on it?
They tell you little things here and there, but I would say like right now there's a lot of defensive things that I've been a pretty good defender as far as rookie season wise. I've made a lot of mistakes, like a ton of mistakes.
Everybody does.
But it's part of growth. But a lot of like for different fouls and different things, like in college you don't get called for certain things, and guys in the NBA are so much better at bumping you and flopping
throwing
in a way, throwing their head back and shooting it. where I'm naturally want to be physical with everybody.
Sure.
And there's certain people you kind of have to pull your hands back and, don't reach. And so learning those things and learning different tendencies in the NBA, and the NBA guards completely different than college guards. Like in the NBA, some guys you run off the line, you completely run past them and let them drive. And in college, you never do that. So it's like just learning different tendencies. And then offensively, they don't tell me much. It's like pretty much like, hey, if you're in with Nikola, throw on the ball and go to the corner or cut, or if you're in with Jamal, set him a screen at half court and let him work. Like, there's just certain things you learn, and there's a lot to learn rookie year, so they throw me things here and there. But I've said this a million times, like I'm very fortunate that they let me be me and let me play like my brand of basketball.
100%. You're now 75 games into your first season. Obviously, this is like double the college season. How do you feel? Like right now, I know you're everything is about how you feel good, like, and trying to help you feel good. But what's it been like mentally, physically, emotionally, just trying to get through this?
I think like mentally, I'm a guy that's pretty even.
Yeah.
I don't get too high, I don't get too low. So that's always pretty much under control. Obviously, your body goes through different times where your body feels great sometimes, and your body sometimes like, man, my legs are tired. Part of that has to do with eating right. Part of that has to do with whether it's like your diet, whether it's getting in the ice bath more. There's different recovery stuff that you try to do more and more, and you got to find your routine. Like Ish Smith is a guy who comes in and he ice baths every single day.
Man.
And, eventually that's something that I want to get to. And so you try to learn from those guys and take things, but I would say that my body feels pretty good. Like I said, there's times where I've been like, man, my legs don't work like they normally do, or things like that. But I'm blessed. I haven't had an injury. That's kind of been something I've hung my hat on.
Right.
In college, is I never missed a practice, never missed a game. So that's one of my biggest goals, is to be available as much as I can for my team. And try to play every game to my best of my ability and play hard. So that's just who I am as a person. So that's one of my best abilities, I think, is availability. So knock on wood, but hopefully I can stay healthy.
Nikola gave you a compliment recently, basically saying he's won everywhere. He's won everywhere he's gone. What is the anatomy like for being a winner? Like, how do you build that? Is it something that you learn, or is it something that's taught? Is it something that you're just born with? Like, how do you go from point A to point B and becoming a winner?
Yeah, I would say it's something that I give all the credit to the people that I grew up with, how I was parented, my coaches. So, like my parents obviously, were my coaches too, but my parents, raised me in a way that, I never played the game selfishly. I tried to play the game the right way. They put me in AAU programs that played the game the right way. 6th grade is when I moved to, or before I moved to Kansas City, but 6th grade is when I joined my AAU organization called MoCan, and I never played for a different AAU organization throughout the whole time. Like, never switched teams. There was times where I was on the bench. There was times where I was starting. There was times I didn't play for games in AAU. My senior year at AAU, I didn't start. I didn't, so that there was ups and downs in AAU, but like my parents would never let me just pick up and leave, or my parents would never let me, switch teams or, play the victim. Like my parents were, it was always like, if you're not in the game, you're doing something wrong. It's not the coach's fault. Can't blame anybody else. So that's just kind of how I grew up. Like I said, from my AAU team, I had great coaches. Like my high school coach is a legend in Kansas City. Like all these people are people that didn't let me play victim, didn't let me make excuses. I went from each organization I was in. I went from not playing at all, to being a starter. So I went through each year. Whether it was Kansas, at Kansas, people thought I was going to redshirt. Played my way into the lineup freshman year, went up and up. Obviously, Coach Self is Coach Self. So each coach I've had is who I give the credit to. They have never let me, be that kind of player. So I've been blessed with great people in my life, and I've been blessed with great teams, organizations, that have just instilled the right way to play basketball.
Is that, and I know you're still a rookie, obviously, and you've got plenty of runway to be able to see where your career goes from here. Have you thought about like what you want your career to look like, or is it just something you're trying to take really one day at a time?
Well, I would hope it looks similar to what the stuff I just described.
Yeah.
Like I hope that I'm in Denver for my whole career. I hope that we win multiple championships in Denver. Like all those things. I hope that I get to stay true to one team. Like that's I think that's really cool. I think that, what Dame's doing, how he's super loyal to, Portland, I think that's awesome. Like, that's something that, I want my career to be. And I think that as much as I want my career to be in Denver, the whole time, that means you're doing something right. I think that, if you're re-signed by the team that drafts you and, you stay in one place your whole career, that means you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing your job. And obviously you're winning. So I would hope that, I'm in Denver for, as long as I can possibly be. And I hope we win as many games, as many championships. And I hope I play and participate in every single one of them. So that's what I want my career to look like. I want it to be in Denver, and I want to win NBA championships.
You've had some big dunks this year.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what Nuggets fans are looking for most when they come to the arena, when they come to see you.
Yeah.
Last night you had maybe your best putback dunk on an offensive rebound against Philly. Is that your favorite of the year, or do you have a different favorite?
I like that one. It was nice. Like, I haven't really got one that's like on somebody yet, or I mean, a couple like slight ones where people have jumped a little bit. But I would say that might be it's definitely top 3 of my rookie year, and that one felt better because I hadn't got one in a while. I haven't I haven't got a dunk in a while. And so just getting that, I think I was screaming before the ball went in. So that's just how I am. Like, it came out, I couldn't hold it in, and it was something that I've been looking for all year too. I think I got one in summer league, like a putback dunk, but I crash the board every time because that's what I'm looking for. A ball, something that can give somebody energy, and the ball literally came perfectly off the rim. I mean, Bruce shoots one at the end of the shot clock, it bounces perfect, right into my hand. I was in the right spot. So I think it was definitely up there for my favorite.
I remember back to the one in Milwaukee where you turn around and mean mud Giannis when he's trying to chase you down. And you're just giving him this ugly face of just like, man, why would you jump with me? It doesn't matter who you're going up against, though, right? Like, it's whoever's in your way.
Well, I don't even think that. I think a lot of people are like, oh, mean mug Giannis, or like a lot of people have said that to me. It's like, it didn't really matter who would have jumped or who like. I don't think I dunked on Giannis by any means. I think that obviously he didn't really jump, but I think that play, like I said, that those looks, those energy, like, that's what I like to do. That's what I take pride in. So that was like one of my favorite dunks, coming down the middle, got off my left leg. And obviously just, the fact that it was in it, an NBA game, and it's my rookie year, and Giannis is right there. Obviously, that gives me a lot of energy. And like I said, that's something I can't contain. And so just making those faces, doing stuff like that, I think it makes the team laugh. And I think that it's energy plays that, a lot of people like to see.
I love it. What's the one thing about Nikola that you thought you knew coming in that's been completely different?
To be honest with you, I didn't watch too much like of the Nuggets. Like, I knew how they played, and obviously I watched them in big games. I watched them in the bubble and those things, but I didn't know too much about Nikola as a person or as a player. Like, I knew he was great. I think I tweeted, there was a tweet from like 2019. I said he was like the best center in the NBA.
Love it.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I think we did. Yeah, I think we're gonna make sure to plaster that in.
Put it everywhere. It's like I tweeted in 2019. I was like, this is the best center in the NBA or something like that. But so I knew he was really good, but his routine, I tell people all the time, like, the greatest thing about Nikola, obviously he's great at basketball, and he's Nikola, but his routine is like super, super strict every single day. The way he works out, the way he carries himself, he comes to work, does his job, treats people the right way, and then leaves and goes home. As a family man, like, he does things the right way, and I think that that's why it's so great. Like, the way he shoots his floaters, he shoots the same floater a million times in pregame.
Yeah.
And layup lines, like, I like to just throw the ball up there and try to go between my legs, or try, he spins the ball out and shoots the same warm-up shot every single game. And I think that that's part of his greatness. And I think that, like, his discipline, people don't see that because they don't see him come in, and they don't see him, on an optional 9 a.m. On a game day, on a back-to-back. He comes in and shoots his same routine on an optional day. So, like, his routine and just his discipline to, what he does is, like, the most amazing thing I think I've seen so far.
And it doesn't seem like that's a requirement for him. Like you said, optional day. Like, he's a superstar. He could do basically whatever he wants to do if he wanted to. But to be able to put the team first and to set a good example like that, I think it probably helps the team just recenter themselves, right?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, you just see him do it, and you know that if he's that good and he's doing it, like, you need to go and do more than him. And sometimes I have the earliest shooting time every time. I'm a rookie. I'm, one of the youngest, and so, like, my shooting time is going to be the earliest on a game day. It's going to be the earliest on an optional day. It's going to be the earliest. So some days I'm like, I'm gonna get there early, and whatever, I'm be the first one there. I'm always the first workout.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I'll pull up to like an optional workout, and like there's his car, and he's in there. He's already getting some treatment done, or doing what he does to be available at every single game. So everybody sees it and everybody follows it. And like I said, his routine and just how strict he is to that, and it's just discipline to that routine is what's great about Nikola to me.
Playoffs are right around the corner, obviously. Who do you think of, like, growing up, who do you think of when you think playoffs? Like, what's the first player that comes to mind? LeBron.
Yeah, it's not even like a thought. Like, I tell people all the time, like, I've been alive for 21 years, and LeBron's been the greatest that I've seen for, 20 of them now. So, like, he drafted 2003, right?
2003.
So, like, he's been the best player in the NBA for pretty much all that I can remember.
It's crazy.
So, like, watching him when I was growing up, watching him even a few years ago, like, when I used to watch, like, we had League Pass, like, and that's when the Lakers played. It didn't matter if they were playing, the Hornets or whoever they were playing. I watched, like, LeBron growing up my whole life. So, to be competing against him was, obviously fun. And you look at it a little different now that you're in the NBA, and you're like, oh, well, I'm an NBA player too. So it's not as like, oh, starstruck. It's just like, man, like I've literally watched you play almost every game of your career. Like, I see what you're really good at, like, and those things. So it's like cool to, really get to physically like guard him. And I think that the first few times I got to do that, and there's been multiple players like that.
Yeah.
It's like see it in person. And it's like really makes you want to compete. Like you want to get a stop, and it's like obviously it's cool to see the pictures, of you guarding them and those things. But like competing against some of those guys is like kind of crazy.
There are players now in the league that were born after he started playing.
Yeah.
Which is just nuts. That's a crazy thing to think about. But hey, Jeff's getting up there. You could hold that over him at some point too.
Yeah, Jeff's old too. Jeff's got a little bald spot going on.
Last one for you. Why can this team win a championship this year?
I would just say that offensively, when we're clicking, we're obviously great. But when we're best is when we're guarding and we're rebounding and we're running and we're playing in transition, we're hitting shots. And the coolest thing about this team is we've been consistent. We've been pretty much in first place for a really long time. We got a lot of guys that want to win a championship. Like KCP's done it before, but he really wants to do it again. Like he stresses it all the time. Like, man, I want to win a championship. Like, what are we doing? We need to, refocus. But we've got the greatest player in the NBA. Like, we got a guy that's, talented than everybody, more talented than everybody else. He centers like pretty much everything we do.
Yeah.
We got Jamal coming back off a knee injury, who's a guy that on an optional day shows up and does what he's supposed to do. We got guys that are experienced like KCP. We got a guy like Bruce, who's one of the best defensive players in the league. We got old guys like DeAndre and Jeff and Ish that keep us on track. So we've got everything we need. We got all the pieces. We're like probably the most talented team in the NBA. Like I think that we have everything we need. And we have, we want to win. We have the drive to win championships. So I think that we have everything we need in our locker room. And obviously there's a lot of teams that are really, really good. But there's no team that I would say like, man, we just can't, we can't beat them. We can't compete. So we're number one in the West for a reason. And I think that when you have a guy like Nikola, he kind of takes you over that edge. And so we have everything we need right in our locker room. We got the talent, and I think we're, all on the same page.
Well, good luck to you, obviously, for the rest of the season. Everybody's watching. Everybody's really excited. And they're excited for you, especially, just because coming into this league, it's really hard to fill a role as a rookie. It's really, really hard, especially on a championship caliber team. So to be able to fill that role, really good stuff. And obviously the way that you're playing right now, the mentality that you bring to it, I think that really helps everybody else out. Just knowing exactly what they're going to get from you every single night. So,
yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Well, so thank you. Thank you for everybody else for tuning in. But really appreciate it. And obviously let's do it again sometime.
For sure. Appreciate it. Thank you.